This week on the Nindie Focus Podcast, we give our updates on games that we're currently playing. We also talk about the games that are coming out this week. And finally, we talk about the Switch on the budget game, Ski Sniper. It all starts right now. And welcome to the very first episode of the Nindie Focus Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Roger, and along with me are my co-host, Phil.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I didn't have anything else, man. I'm sorry. This is episode 1. We got to get warmed up. I got to get warmed up. I told you, I can't even talk today.
My co-host, Phil, thanks for having me.
I quit.
Another co-host on the show is Jordan.
Yeah, it's great being here. Thank you for having me.
We're going to break Roger 1 minute and 30 seconds into this show.
And then finally, another co-host of ours is Mike.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Not only was that bad, Mike, but you had the ASMR voice. Hey, thanks for having me. Oh, so we are a band of friends.
I thought you said we're banned, and I was like, already?
We're all banned
that's
from doing podcasts ever again. We are a band of friends that are going to be focusing on, obviously, indie games on the Nintendo platform, which is the Switch right now. So yeah, we're going to be talking about indie games, thus the name Nindie Focus Podcast. So we'll start off the podcast by talking about what games that we're currently playing and give a short synopsis, a mini review, if you will. And then we'll talk about the games that are coming out next week or this week. And then finally, we'll have our last segment, which is something that I stole from Mike. And I'm sorry, Mike, I stole this idea from you.
Son of a...
I know. It's the switching on a budget. And we'll take one game that is $10 or less. Games that are on sale will also count as well. And we'll give a short review on that game as well. And this week, game that we're going to be reviewing in this Switching on a Budget, what is this game called, Mike?
Ski Sniper?
Oh, yeah. Ski Sniper.
The greatest concept of all time.
Yeah.
Except for skee ball.
Except for skee ball. Yeah. But, maybe someday. Maybe that's the sequel if they get enough sales out of this.
Jordan, did you buy that game, by the way?
Not yet, but honestly, I was showing a friend some footage last night, and as I was watching more and more footage of it, my finger got closer and closer to hitting buy. So I'll probably buy it today, honestly, after talking about it here.
Jordan, I'll Venmo you the $5 if you don't have it yet.
Yeah.
Everybody, this thing needs to be number 1 on the council seller list. We'll get to that later, though.
Yeah.
Someone needs to let Jeff Keighley know about this game.
Yeah.
I'll tweet him right now.
Also, nobody tell Nintendo about it because they'll pull it off the shop.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, let's start off by going through a couple of the games that we're currently playing. And Jordan, we'll start with you. What games are you playing, Nindie-wise?
Sure, yeah. So there was a sale going on, I think, last week. I don't know if it's still on sale, but I got it because it was 1 penny, a single penny.
Ooh. Wow.
And I got it, and it's called Conduct Together. And it's like a top-down, like puzzle-esque with like trains. The idea being that like the trains are on these tracks, and every level is different, and they'll you basically use the like A, X, B, and Y, and each of those controls a train. And if you push the button, it'll like start or stop the train. And then the D-pad controls basically the tracks that will be like this: go right, go left, go forward, kind of thing. And so they'll just go, and there's different colored pickup stations. So you pick up people from the red station. You have to make sure they get to the yellow station without crashing into your other trains or NPC trains and stuff like that. And it was harder than I thought it was going to be at first. But once you figure out kind of for each level, the flow of what this level is trying to get you to do, it feels really good and satisfying. You'll be like, oh, I see, I need to send this one right, and then immediately send this one left, and then both of them it's really, really cool. And I think originally it's maybe $1 anyways, I think, because it was 99% off, and it's also co-op. You can play up to 4 players, so you can each control a train, as opposed to having to do it all yourself. So which is really cool.
That is really cool.
But I'm really liking it so far.
Is it just local play? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
not online, right?
yeah.
So we can't really do that right now.
No.
You sound so disappointed.
I mean, you can if you live with people, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
If you're
true.
quarantined with someone else right now, you can play Conduct Together.
There you go.
I think that game is still on sale because I was going through the eShop today because of the spring sale that was going on, and I saw that game, and I actually was tempted to pick it up, but actually I think I will now. And I think it still was a penny, so I think I'll pick it up.
Yeah, usually I avoid those games because there's like
Yeah.
some games that'll like put it for like a penny or like 99% off just to like get to the top sellers list for a while.
Yeah.
But this one's actually really, really good. And it's really fun.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. And how does it play I mean, how do you play locally? Is it everybody has their own controller then, or how does it
Yeah,
work?
I know when I'm playing, it's like you can just like when I fail like 10 times in a row, they're like, you can hand a Joy-Con off to a friend, and I'm just like, well, you're insulting me in two ways right now: my skill at this game and the fact that I have no friends. So like,
Toss it on the other side of the couch and hope somebody's there to catch it.
yeah, like why isn't this working?
Nice. And is it a lengthy game?
It's hard to tell. I mean, you see like the map at the start where it's like all the different places you're going and stuff like that. And like there's some like snow levels and like the maps change every time. And it's all about like trying to get the like 3 stars on every level kind of thing. And then you also unlock new trains as you go along. So I just got a cool like Japanese type train. Not that it does anything different, but it sure looks cool. So yeah.
It kind of reminds me. I mean, just the way you're describing it, kind of reminds me of what was that game? The airport game where you had to land planes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Top Gun.
Not Top Gun.
Oh, sorry.
No, it was a game that was on I know it was on the DS because I had it on the DS, but I think it was on like
Nintendogs.
Nintendogs. Yes.
Is it just is it like flight traffic control?
Yes. Yeah.
Simulator or something?
Yes. And you
I
had
made
different
all those
planes.
words up together and just hope for the best.
That's exactly what it was called. No, you had different runways, and so like one would be yellow, so all the yellow planes had to land on the yellow runway, and all the red planes had to land on the red runway, and you'd make sure. Maybe it was called air traffic controller. I think maybe that's really what it was called.
Yeah, it's very similar to that then. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm definitely gonna check that out after we're done with this podcast. Cool. Are you playing anything else?
Indie wise? Nope, that's it.
Cool. What about you, Mike? What are you playing?
I'm playing a game that I'm actually working on a review for the site.
What?
Yeah, and the embargo's lifted, so I can talk about it. The game is called Hyperparasite. It's on the Switch, and it's a top-down shooter roguelite. So another one of those types of games where your character, there's really no progress in terms of a story. You just try to get to the very end in each run, but your progress does save between runs. So it's a top-down shooter. If I were to compare it to one, I always like to compare it to a classic, which is Smash TV.
Okay.
And you play the role of an alien parasite, and you take over the bodies of people, and you use those bodies of the people, whatever their attack, whatever their weapon is, to take out other people in whatever that specific room is before you go on to the next one. And the goal of the parasite is to destroy the human race by working its way up to the president, possessing the body of the president, and then pressing the nuke launch numbers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very silly. The production value is very nice. The graphics are like the close-up ones, like when you possess, like there's a guy who looks like a Ghostbuster, so when you possess him, they show his profile in like a little window, and the graphics are they're pretty detailed, for looking like a 16-bit style game. Kind of like reminded me of Hotline Miami?
Yeah.
Or Shakedown Hawaii, one of those games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what that reminded me of, and it's a fun game. I'll say that. No, I'm not. There's nothing wrong with it. Like the controls work. There's actually the one thing that I really appreciate that they do is they do. There's a little bit of auto aim, like aim assist, because it gets so chaotic when you got all these enemies coming after you that it really helps to just if you're off by just a little bit with your bullets, then it'll make that correction for you.
Cool. That's
so
cool.
it's not overly difficult, but I love the soundtrack. Very synthy soundtrack, very 80s. I always love when it's that kind of like thumpy wub style synth soundtrack. So that's a lot of fun. Again, there was a lot of there's a guy you can possess that looks like Hulk Hogan. Of course, it's the 80s. There's And the funny thing is, the thing that made me laugh, like when I got killed, I got killed by just a regular punk. And instead of saying game over, the game pops up a newspaper and it says our hero, and it shows the punk that killed you.
Oh man.
So
that sounds kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that they put a lot of work into this. It just doesn't look like, some iPhone game that they're like, all right, we'll just dump this code and see if it'll work on the Switch.
Yeah.
So they definitely put you can tell they put a lot of work and a lot of care into the game. And if you like those types of, those roguelite games that are just, great for playing for half an hour to 45 minutes at a time and not needing to worry about like a whole storyline and just have some fun, that's definitely a good pickup.
Nice. Yeah, I do remember, because when I saw that game, now I do remember this, when you said about Smash TV, because I saw it and I said, ooh, Mike, this is right up Mike's alley. Mike, do you want to review this game? Because they sent us an email. Yeah, they sent us an email saying, hey, you guys want to review this game? I'm like, Mike?
And I said, Roger.
Yeah. This is for you. It's cool. And I think that's coming out next week, isn't it?
Actually, I'll double check. I think it came out just today.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it did. Oh, tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I looked it up because I wanted to see, and it looks really cool, actually.
Yeah. I also, for the Dialogue Tree podcast, I actually asked if I can get the creators on the show, and I'm trying to get that going. So, yeah, we'll see if that works out.
Nice.
Cool. You playing anything else, Mike?
Nope, that's my pick for the week.
Nice. What about you, Phil? What are you playing?
I'm really lame, and I've only played one Nindie style game this week, and it's the one we're going to be talking about shortly. City Sniper. I've put a little too much time into that game, and it all just started happening mainly because of Mike, and it all went downhill from there.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick, and just say that there's no such thing as putting too much time into that game.
I don't know, man. I was sitting down after work last night, or 2 nights ago. No, it was last night, and I had an adult beverage in my hand that I brought my Switch to work just in case I had a little bit of downtime, and as soon as I opened up my beverage, I started sniping at skiers.
Oh, okay.
And my coworkers were just like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I don't even know if you want to know.
Yeah.
But some of them actually seem to find it to be a pretty amusing concept. We'll get to that later.
Okay. All right. For myself, I'll mention 2 games. So the first one is actually a review on the site, and it's Bobble for Friends. And that game came out on Tuesday, I believe. So that one, I mean, as you can imagine, it's Bobble. You can play up to 4 players with it this time. And, there's something, I mean, it's fun. And it's super easy for people to pick up. So I had my 5-year-old and my 8-year-old play along with me, and they were picking that game up pretty quickly, and it was really easy. And yeah, it's cool that it has, 4 players and it's Bobble, but there's something about the old game that it doesn't include the original arcade game, which is cool. It
does?
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool.
It is cool, but you can only play 2 players. I wish they would include 4 players,
Gotcha.
but there is something that is missing from this new game that the old game had. Part of it is the challenge. I mean, the old game I found to be much more challenging. This game was not challenging at all. The enemies, their patterns were just super easy to pick up on, where the old game, like the last bad guy that's on the screen would just go crazy, go and run around. I mean, not necessarily that their AI is all that great, but it just seemed more chaotic than this game did.
Yeah.
And the puzzle design in this game just didn't feel all that creative. The premise is apparently you're in some kid's bedroom and that wizard character is like mad at you and creating this because you're the favorite toy that this kid plays with. So then they create this chaos in this world, but it's not really that chaotic. There are bosses, and at the end of each boss, so there's 10 levels in each like 10 sub-levels in each level, and at the end of that 10th one, you fight against a boss. Or after the 10th one is a boss. And when you beat the boss, and again, like you'll probably die the first time you play against the boss because you'll have to learn what their pattern is. But once you pick it up, it's like, okay, that was really easy. And then you get like equipment from that boss. So like the first boss is like this range shooter thing. So you can shoot your bubbles farther. But you only get a limited amount of those ammo of that range shooter thing. So it's kind of cool, but I didn't need to use it on my next boss. And it was weird because I just feel like that was another miss that, whatever you incorporated from that boss should be used in that next level, and you don't need to do it. And that felt like a miss. The one thing I will say that I liked about it is that you feel more grounded than the other game. The other game felt so floaty, the original game, where this one feels a lot... the word I can think of is grounded, where I just feel like the moves I'm making, I actually feel like I'm making. So, but that review is on the site if you want to read that. And then the other game that I've been playing and I'm reviewing too is called Curious Explorer. Have you guys seen anything about this game?
No.
I am curious about this game.
You stole it from me, Mike. You stole it.
I'm sorry. Roger, go ahead and explore what it's about.
Yeah. So imagine like Oregon Trail with elements of, it kind of looks like, I don't want to say it has elements, but it looks like the old Civ games, Civilization games, where you have like the where you have the octagon. And so what you get to pick a character from history. So like Charles Darwin is in it. Who was I just picked Charles Darwin. I don't remember some of the other characters that are in there, but there's quite a few characters from history, and you could take them on a exploration where you have to get stuff, and each one of those, I think there's like 4 other AI opponents that you're playing against, and they're all going across the world, getting artifacts or treasure from the different parts of the world, and you go explore. And you have to get as much artifacts or treasure as you can to come back with. The graphics are very, like I said, looks like something from like the 80s, which is kind of cool. I like that. It has like this cool aesthetic to it. And there's a lot of like dialogue that happens. So your character will like go through you'll take your character through the different areas, and the map opens up. So there's that fog of war happening. And when you take them through the different areas, you'll come across like a tribe, for instance. You run across a village where there's a tribe there, and then you can trade with them. So you have equipment that you can trade with, and maybe sometimes they'll have jewels that you can trade for. And then when you go on your adventure, right before you leave, you might run into a character that says, "Hey, there's something I need you to get." Like, for instance, there was a person that left the British Army. He like deserted the British Army, and now he's out in this wilderness. And if you run into him, bring him back, and we'll pay you a hefty reward. So it's cool. And when you come back, they like give you like how you did compared to your opponents. And I didn't do all that hot because the risk. The risk and reward, I would get like one treasure. I'm like, all right, I'm going back to the ship because I'm too scared. I don't want to go on anymore. And you have the sanity level. So like the more you explore, the more your sanity level goes down. If it gets down to 0, then your characters are like in big trouble. But you have chocolate you can eat to help with the sanity.
Just like in real life.
Yeah, just like in real life.
Yeah, I did that today. It worked.
Yeah. And then the other thing I will say is that there is some combat in this game, and the combat is interesting. You get basically these little tiles, and you roll the tiles, and you can put the tiles together to create an attack or create like a block or a maneuver or something. So, give you an example. Charles Darwin has a couple brains as part of the tiles, and then my characters had a shotgun. So when I rolled my dice or my tiles, it came up as brain and the gun, and I put those two tiles together, and it created like precise aiming, and it did more damage to the thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I will say, if you're gonna play this game, I think it comes out next week. If you play this game, play the tutorial, because I didn't, because I am a kid of the 80s and I do not play. I do not read tutorials. Right?
Tutorial schmutorial.
Exactly. And I played it. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I have no idea. And then I played the tutorial, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. So I did have to play the tutorial to understand.
What is it called again?
Curious Explorer.
Okay.
Have you had more than one playthrough of it yet?
Oh, I played. Well, so I haven't had more than one playthrough yet, because I started over quite a few times.
Is it the same map every time?
No,
that actually kind of segues into it. So it is a randomly generated map.
Yes,
nice.
Yes, and you go on many different adventures, I guess. Mm-hmm. So like the first one I went on, I got like, your prestige level. That's really what it is. Like how much stuff you get, ranks you on your prestige level against the other players. And then it's like this bar graph to show you like how well you did compared to everybody else. And then you go on to your next one, and then you go on until somebody, I think, hits the final end, and then they make a statue of that person. So the idea is that you're trying to make a statue of yourself. The other cool thing is that the more prestige you have, the more people that will show up that will say, hey, I want to travel with you. So like you might have like this British officer that says, hey, I'll go on the adventure with you and help you out. And then their fighting might be good, or I might have a trader with me. But that's all again based on your reputation. And the higher it is, the more people show up that want to join you. It reminds me of like college basketball. Like if you do really well, like recruits want to come play for your school. Yeah, exactly. So it's really an interesting game. At first, like I said, it really I was just so dumbfounded by it. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was really confused. And then I played the tutorial, and then I actually started playing the game like I should have been. And I'm like, this is really, really cool. So,
do you have any idea how much it's going to cost when it releases?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, that's one another game that I'm reviewing right now. So it is out on other systems, but since we're talking about Nintendo games, that's what I'm playing it on. So
yep.
That's all I had for that. So let's move on to our next segment, talking about the games that are coming out next week. Here are all the games that are coming out next week on the Nintendo Switch. For April 7th, we have Grim Valor, Pen and Paper Games Bundle, Ubungo, Galaxy of Pen and Paper +1 edition, Convoy, a tactical roguelike, and Tower Tale. Here are the games that are coming out on April the 9th. Bridge 3, Gunbrick Reloaded, Vigor, Monster Theater, and Fight of Animals. Here are the games that are coming out on April 10th. RMX Real Motocross, Rush Rover, and Ferris. Alright, so now we'll be talking about the Switch on a Budget game. Mike, you might as well talk about this because I have not played it, and this is your pick, so the floor is yours, Mike.
All right.
Mike,
are you like me?
No, I'm not. I'm not like you.
Do you ever just see people enjoying themselves skiing and just think to yourself, man, they look so smug. I wish I could do something about that.
Nope, I'm still not on the same page as you.
Then this game is for you. This game Wow. Okay. This one caught my eye just because it is one of the most absurd games I've ever seen. And it was on sale when it first came out. So the whole idea of switching on a budget is finding a game that is either on sale for a ridiculously low price or right around some anywhere below $10, I guess you could say. If it's get a game really cheap, a Nindie game really cheap on the eShop, and if it's worth the the 19 cents or whatever you paid for it. But I got this one for $4 when it first came out. So the name of the game is called Ski Sniper. When I got the game, I asked my wife, I'm like, honey, I just got this game. It's called Ski Sniper. And I said, I'll let you guess what the game is about. And I said, there's only 2 different possible options. And she's like, are you a sniper that skis? I'm like, nope. It's much better than that.
That would be the one that everybody would guess, but no.
So in Ski Sniper, and I love how I have to explain this with a serious look on my face. You are a sniper, and your responsibility is to shoot skiers mid-jump.
Like on the big ski jump even. Not even like doing bunny hops or anything like that, but big Olympic ski jump.
Big Olympic ski jumps, yes. There's no plot. There's no story.
Is there a story to this game?
There's no story, and that's what makes it so beautiful, is that you could just make up your own story to it. Like, there's just leaves so much open to the imagination. So, okay, so I know what you're thinking. You're like, wow, that sounds like a stupid idea.
Yeah.
And yes, it is. But, oh, man, the execution, pun intended, is so perfect.
Yep.
So basically, you're a sniper. So you see the guy, going down. I don't even know what the ramp or whatever they call it.
It's just called the ski jump.
The ski jump, and you you take out your gun and you zoom in and you shoot him. The best thing about this is it's very similar to Sniper Elite when you do shoot him, because then it goes into slow motion bullet time and then does like an X-ray view of the skier, and you get more money for more body parts that you hit.
And more important body parts. Like an ankle shot isn't worth much of anything.
Even though it should be, because that's a tough hit.
That's where I hit everybody when I shoot him, though. Is in the ankle or in the, I don't know what the lower leg bone's called. Femur.
I got the thigh. I got the thigh a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, especially with the skier, like that's got to be game over for a skier. That should be like top marks. You hit him in the ankle.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, their ski just goes flying off.
Yeah.
Just the one ski, too, because you only hit their left ankle, so that left ski is gone.
And it even gets better after that, because not only do you shoot them and then it goes through them, then they're flipping in the air, ragdoll physics style, and then you get more points and more money the further they go and the more times they hit the ground.
Oh, boy.
And you get like distance. You get money for distance, and then you use the money to buy better sniper rifles and also
tranquilizers? Is that what those would be?
Yes.
Yeah,
you get pills, and what the pills do, it slows the game down to make it easier to line up your shot. So it's one level. There's about 7 or 8 different vantage points.
And they all have different goals.
They all have different goals. There's like you have to get like 8 headshots or shoot 6 people in a row, things like that. So, and you get money for achieving each of those things, and that's basically all it is. Like. And then you use the money to purchase better sniper rifles and the other and the pills. But it's just one of those games that you can just replay over and over again. There was a game that this reminds me of, and I loved this game.
Duck Hunt?
It came out for the... What's that?
Duck Hunt?
Duck Hunt. Dude, that'd be awesome. And then just like a dog just picks it up.
Dog comes up and laughs at you and you miss all your shots.
There's a game for the Xbox and the PS2. It was called Flat Out. It was a racing game, and every time you would like crash into a wall or something, the driver would go flying through the windshield. And it was an arcade racer, but then they also had like extra modes like bowling, and you would like drive the car as fast as you can towards the wall, and then the guy would go flying out the windshield into giant pins. And they did the same thing with like a dartboard. Yeah. So it's stupid and it's wacky, and I don't know.
And it's not as easy as it sounds either.
No,
like,
it's
shooting
tough.
people is very difficult.
Yeah, it's a tough game. I streamed it, and I was just cracking up. Seriously, it's so like surreal how just like dumb and fun the game is.
You had me sold on it the first 2 minutes worth of stream. Actually, as soon as you shot the first guy and it went to X-ray vision, I was like, I'm buying this game right now. And I did.
I will say, I for as kind of cheap as this game is, I mean,
What?
yes, I will say that X-ray vision execution was pretty impressive. I will give them that. And it was pretty funny to watch you stream this, Mike, and then have shot through the heart in the background. That was pretty funny.
Oh yeah,
That was pretty fun.
all sorts of fun songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Nintendo know about this game? Do they
Hey,
know
we
this
said
game's
we're not going to tell Nintendo
Yeah,
about this.
yeah,
We
we're
want people to buy this game. It's amazing, Roger. Quit fighting it.
In fact, we probably said too much.
We may have. How much is this game?
I think it's $5 at the most when it's at full
Yeah,
price.
Yeah, not any more than $5. But I mean, Phil, you love the game too, right?
I'm not even kidding, man. My girlfriend tonight, I'm sitting there playing it before we recorded tonight. I've been messing around with it for the last couple of days. She drove me to work the other day because she just wanted some kind of social interaction outside of work. So she drove me to work, came inside, hung out for like an hour. And I'm playing it the entire time she's driving me to work. And she's like, what in the hell are you giggling about over there? And I'm like, you don't even want to know. And tonight I fired it up and she's watching. She's like, this is absolutely morbid. And like 3 minutes passed and she continues to watch me play. And I took down 2 out of 3 on one of those triple runs. And I felt like just a rock star at that point. She goes, can I try?
It's one of those games that when you hear about the concept, you're like, I'm a bad person for being interested in this. I turned on my Switch the other day and I'm just going through it and I'm like, man, I sure saved a lot of replays of this game.
Yeah, I've got a lot of screenshots of fractured bones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if I remember, I'll post some of them on Twitter later.
Yeah, like I remember I shot the guy, I got him right in the face.
Yep. That one guy that you domed, that was amazing.
Yeah, like, and there was like teeth and pieces of his jaw that went flying out. Granted, it's not like ridiculously graphic because it's all in the X-ray, and like so you just, but like I don't know, it's just they don't make games like that anymore.
Yeah,
I almost
think
think
a reason.
left out the best part about this entire thing, though, Mike. Besides the blood splatters as they hit the snow and when they start bouncing and rolling. Is when they finally come to their poor resting spot, everybody in the audience cheers because you took this guy out in midair.
Yeah, and that's what I was alluding to earlier about there not being a story. You can make your own story about this. This is like some version of The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Exactly what it is.
And if they land it, then they get to go home, get out free, or what? Get out of prison for free,
or something like that. Yeah, but it's so awesome that like they cheer. Why do they cheer? Like there's a body just strewn across the floor. Oh, it's too funny. The only downside I have for this game is that it's the only one, and it's that it's very basic. They could have done so much with this. They could have added curling to this.
Oh.
You can't shoot curlers. That's too easy. Those guys are barely moving.
Oh, no. Okay.
Speed skaters,
the skier,
yes.
The skier is the puck.
Oh, man.
And when they land and slide, like, or at the bottom of the hill, there's bowling pins.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can...
That would be awesome if there were bowling pins at the bottom, so that way that when the guy goes down and he hits and he starts I'm in.
Yeah, or like Monkey Target in
somebody get in touch with
Monkey
whoever
Ball?
made this game, and they need to sit down with Mike and I.
Oh, we got to get him on the show.
Yeah,
not on this show. Not on this show.
Mike, we're going rogue.
Yeah, we're doing.
We're gonna start the Ski Sniper podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was the last episode of the Nindie Focus Podcast.
So I'll wrap this up. Ski Sniper, it's on the Switch eShop. I recommend it 100% if you have a stupid sense of humor like I do. Yep. If one of your favorite shows in the last 15 years was that Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, then this game is right up your alley.
And it's cheap. That's why it's a budget game. It's like
and you're switching on a budget.
Yeah. So if you don't decide to purchase the game, I mean, you can check out your streams on that because Mike, you do stream that quite often.
I do.
What is your Twitch channel?
Thank you for asking, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm at twitch.tv/TCThrowers.
Yeah. So there you go. So you can check that game out if that's something you're interested in purchasing or just interested in to see what this game is about. You can check out his stream there. Otherwise, I know that you have video clips for that as well, probably out there on your Twitch channel, so you can check that out.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up then. Before we go, we'll go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. So, Phil, we'll start with you. How can people get a hold of you?
I believe that my video game related Twitter is B, like the letter B, now 23.
And Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at, same thing as Twitch, at TCThrowers.
Okay, cool. And Jordan, how can people get a hold of you?
Can also find me on Twitter at Cryptic Jordan.
Okay. And listeners, you can follow me on Twitter, and you can follow us on Gamerheads PC. I'm going to use that. I'm going to start our own Twitter account, though, for the Nindie Focus podcast. So I'll get that going. And then I'll also start a new email for that, too. But until then, if you have any questions or if there's games, Nindie games that you want us to check out, you can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. All right, until next week, we will talk to you later and keep playing those Nindie games. See ya.
Take care, everybody.
So long.
Bye.